Have you ever noticed all the weird restaurant names in the airport when you're hungry?
Drink Martini Bar, Soho Bistro?
Could they not have thought of something less generic than New York Deli?
Every day, millions of us visit restaurants and bars and terminals across the country that have driven up to 59% of non-aeronautical airport revenue.
But why would any of that responsibility be put in the hands of these seemingly fake restaurants? I got curious and started digging into three things.
First, how widespread they are. Second, who's behind them. And third, why do airports choose to work with them?
What I found was a world of generic restaurants that aren't so generic after all.
Okay, before we go deeper into this, when I say fake, I don't mean these restaurants are breaking the law. These are legitimate businesses. They're just not your typical franchise or the cozy local spot they pretend to be. A bagel from New York Deli doesn't taste like a bagel from a New York Deli. It turns out there's a whole landscape of these wannabe recognizable establishments stretching from coast to coast. Crazy fact time, every point on this map indicates an airport that hosts fake restaurants. But here's the thing, I did some digging and learned that one-off, airport-specific dining isn't a new trend. Turn back the clock. Apparently, one-off airport restaurants started popping up in the 1930s. The idea was to make high-class waiting room, ticketing, and restaurant facilities to attract and retain customers. Since flying was very pricey and limited to the wealthy, airports wanted to rake in more dough than their captive customers were providing at the time. They went big, targeting not just travelers, but non-travelers too, and turning airport dining into tourist attractions. Guys, people came for birthdays, dates, and even Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving dinner? Who goes to the airport? Get ready, guys. We're going to the airport for Thanksgiving dinner. Actually, that sounds kind of cool. Like, could we bring that back? Over time, the number of passengers started to grow. By the 90s, airports were stacking their rosters with franchise players. Things rolled this way until the early 2000s. After 9/11, higher levels of security slowed things down and forced travelers to spend way more time in airports. This ramped up the need for more food spots, and that's when we saw a lot more generic restaurants taking up space in the airport. Let's use JFK Airport as an example. This is a map of Terminal A. Look at all these dining spots. I recognize some of these instantly. Global chains that we can find almost anywhere, but others, not so much. I don't know who these people are. I started to dig into it and I found something interesting. Out of 18 eateries, 12 are generic, but here's the catch. Out of those 12, 4 are all under the same umbrella, OTG. Turns out, OTG is a concessions vendor. It's time to say hello to one of our main characters, Rick Blatstein. Rick started his career as a successful nightclub owner. In 1996, he launched OTG as a single restaurant with the goal of delivering a great restaurant experience that just happened to be in an airport. He got the idea when a friend asked him to manage some restaurants and bars at Philadelphia International Airport. His first weekend there saw a blizzard that packed the airport with passengers. He told Smart CEO magazine that he called his wife and told her that he was selling everything and focusing on airports. The company now operates more than 350 locations across 11 major airports. And they're not even the biggest player. Vendors like HMS Host have similar generic restaurants and locations from Los Angeles to Vietnam. But there's still one point that doesn't make sense to me. Why work with the operators of generic restaurants rather than exclusively with franchises? That's when I came across this. On average, planting golden arches in an airport terminal costs $45,000 per franchise. Wait, it gets much better. A Baja Fresh Express can cost between $202,000 and $695,000. That's not including tech or equipment costs. Operators also need to pay ongoing fees to the franchise in addition to rent to the airport. By creating generic restaurants, vendors gain the flexibility to run the show, free from the franchise fees. So what's in it for the airport? Operators like OTG allow airports to simplify management and streamline operations. They make life much easier for airports by handling all the legal, regulatory, and logistical hurdles in such secure spaces. With airport security being so tight, they simplify hiring by including FBI fingerprinting and background checks for all their employees. And by managing multiple brands, they eliminate the need for the airport to negotiate with multiple franchisees. While it's still not cheap for vendors to produce all of these restaurants, airports offer a steady stream of captive customers, which has worked out very well for OTG. In part, OTG was able to see that initial growth through a customer experience that started when Rick spotted a problem.
As I spend all my time in airports, I see people sitting there lined up like they're going to go get a root canal. I wanted to turn those into something special. So we had a unique opportunity at Delta Airlines in JFK. Their Terminal 3 and Terminal 2 were very, very poor terminals. So we went to Delta and said, listen, we want to do this here. Give us your toughest gates. We'll do a 90-day deal.
He suggested a plan that included installing iPads on new terminal seats to allow passengers to order food on command.
We spent millions of dollars to do it. We'll let you do this and try this here. But you need to achieve two things. One, you need to maintain or increase our seat count, and you need to maintain or increase our aisle space.
And it paid off.
Customer service scores in the Port Authority dramatically increased. And the people started tweeting about it, and the press started to write about it. Those areas that were forbidden territory forever don't need to be that any longer. Let's take care of our customers.
Studies show that people drop more cash when ordering from iPads. 11 years later, the company altered the experience again when it launched mobile ordering at its airport locations in 2023. This has all led to OTG establishing an industry standard. But not every airport is filling its roster with generic one-off restaurants. At Portland International Airport, there's another strategy at play. Of their 27 eateries, only 1 is generic, 11 are well-known chains, and 15 are businesses unique to Portland. While the fake restaurant trend shows no signs of slowing down, airports like PDX that focus on local businesses may demonstrate a viable way to support local economies without sacrificing efficiency. So, the next time you see one of these random fake airport restaurants, remember, it's a lot less random than you may think. If you like this story and want to learn more, subscribe to the Hustle YouTube channel for the latest business news.